the road again. We can't wait to get on the road again. Telling stories to our family and our friends. We can't wait to get on the road again. On the road again. We can't wait to get on the road again. Telling stories to our friends. We can't wait to get on the road again.
Welcome to our monthly AAA podcast, Affinity, Allie, and Annette on the road to good storytelling with your hosts, Allie Spooner and moi coming live from Mexico. This month, the topic is multi-generational love stories, and we're welcoming back the author, Glenda Poulter, to talk about her new book, The Girl with the Violin. Fabulous, fabulous story. It's very touching, and I think it's one of my favorites that she's written. I have the pleasure of introducing Glenda. Glenda has been writing poetry, short stories, and novels since she was 10 years old, well over a half a century. Slice of life novels with women who love women as her main characters are her specialty. Strong women with human weaknesses and foibles populate her stories along with their sometimes quirky friends. Her past published works include Never Too Late, Welcome Home, Out of the Past, and now The Girl with the Violin. Glenda lives in central North Carolina with her longtime partner, Lisa, and the felines that rule their lives. She is the proud mother of a daughter and son and doting grandmother of two. Other interests include collecting seashells, the fiber arts, crochet, knitting, quilting, reading, and photography. Glenda seldom meets a stranger and strives to leave everyone she encounters with a smile. Glenda has an affinity with the ocean, and she is sure she was a mermaid in a previous life. Its gift of seashells calls her name on a regular basis.
So without further ado, Glenda, if you're ready, go ahead and take us away and give us your reading.
Thank you. Aunt Freddie, do you remember Grace and Taylor? They came to visit you the other day. Freddie looked up from the sandwich Pepper had set in front of her. Her face lit up when she saw Grace. She held her hand out and Grace went and squatted beside her. Freddie put a hand on each cheek and gave her a light peck on the lips. My Evie has come back to see me, she said, pulling Grace into an embrace. You came back. Freddie, I'm Grace. Grace gently removed Freddie's arms from around her. Evie is my great-grandmother. She came with me today. Do you want to meet her? Pepper is my great-great-niece. Freddie returned to her sandwich. Evie sat in the chair next to Freddie's. She sat in silence while Freddie ate. After a few minutes, Freddie turned to her. You're old, she said. So are you, Evie answered. Who are you? Freddie had a confused look on her face. She looked from Evie to Grace and back again. Grace sat down on the other side of Freddie and took one of her hands. Freddie, this is Evie, your old friend. Freddie shook her head. No, you're Evie. She pointed at Evie. She's too old. Celia put her hand over her mouth and turned away. Taylor was grinning and patting her on the shoulder. Pepper turned and looked out the kitchen window. Even Evie was trying not to laugh. Thanks, you guys. Leave me stranded, Grace said, trying not to roll her eyes. You're old too, Evie said, putting a hand on Freddie's arm. We're both old. But Evie is young. Freddie stood up and held her hand out to Grace. Come see my jigsaw puzzle. Remember how we used to put them together all the time? Mama and Daddy kept them at our house because your daddy thought they were a waste of time. There are those words again, waste of time, Grace thought. Why were things that were enjoyable a waste of time? Grace took Freddie's hand and let her lead her into a dark paneled room with a large table in the center. A jigsaw puzzle about half finished on it. The picture was of a large red barn with sunflowers prominent in the foreground. Grace heard a sharp intake of breath from Evie. What's wrong, Grams? Cecilia asked. That's the same puzzle we were putting together when Daddy forced me to marry Dean. It's the only one she'll work on, Pepper said, and it's out of print. When I found that out, I took a picture of it completed and found a company online that makes jigsaw puzzles out of photographs. I've had a dozen made. She pointed at a shelf. It held stacks of puzzle boxes. If one works out, I replace it with one of those. Have you tried to give her a new one, a different one, Taylor asked. Yes, until you've seen an elderly woman throw a temper tantrum worse than any 2-year-old could, you haven't been to hell yet. You sit there, Freddie pointed to it the other side of the table. Grace obediently sat down and waited for Freddie's next move. Freddie handed her a puzzle piece. That was the piece you couldn't figure out where it went last time we worked on this. Can you figure it out now? Evie went to stand beside Grace. Pepper moved a chair over for her to sit down. Evie smiled her thanks as she lowered herself into the chair. She held her hand out for the puzzle piece. But before Grace could give it to her, Freddie grabbed it back. No, not her. You find where it goes. She shoved the piece back at Grace and looked at Evie. Go away, old lady. I will not, Evie said. You need to learn to share. Maybe I can help her figure out where it goes. You mind your manners. Freddie's mouth fell open and everyone but Evie held their breath. Evie took the puzzle piece back and studied it. You sounded just like my mama, Freddie said. She grinned. You must be a friend of my mama's. Did you know her, Miss Addie? She knew everyone in town. Yes, she did, Evie said. Why don't you and I talk about your mama and let these young'uns go visit? We can work on the puzzle together if that's okay with you. Freddie nodded and looked over her shoulder at Pepper. Taylor, and Cecilia. Grace stood and joined them. Freddie made a sweeping motion toward them. You children go entertain yourself. This lady and I have things to talk about. And
That's
that's
great.
from one of my favorite scenes in the book.
That I agree. That was one of my favorite scenes in the book. Yeah, the whole "you're old." That was
Yeah.
priceless.